kiss back every time you hold me. I've been thinking about what to tell you. Every little thing that you don't do. I call you just to listen. The way you talk around your breath and drawing on your collar. Less than every superstition. You woke up leaning on my shoulder. You push your hair away. You said I look just like my sister. I look the other way. And I rush into my head. But I come to you instead. Call you just to listen. The way you talk around your breath and drawing on your collar. Less than every superstition. I call you just to listen. The way you talk around your breath and drawing on your collar. Less than every superstition. I call you just to listen. The way you talk around your breath and drawing on your collar. Less than every superstition.
I have my sentence now, at last I know just how you felt. I dig my fingers in, expecting more than just the skin. 'Cause we're a loaded like in fever, like a motorbike, a sailor and a nightingale, dancing in convertibles. And you can hold me like he held her, and I will fuck you like nothing matters. And you can hold me like he held her, and I
trying to ruin all your plans. God gave me hope just like He gave me conviction. Red herrings in early years that led to contradictions. They say that the body's just a thing to house the mind. The mind keeps betraying me night after night. Pain through the center of what feels like
Oh my goodness. Welcome in. Oh my gosh. Hello from everybody here. Everybody here on the little doggo farm. Hello, hello. If you're here live with us, catching this on Twitch or Kick specifically, you're hearing the wonderful background music that is not so background. It's background now. But yeah, I figured on that note, if you guys didn't catch the screen, the chat that's on screen rather, the song that I had on was very surprising. It seemed very gentle and wonderful, and then it went into, it was still wonderful, but it went into some not so gentle vibes. So if you're here live, that's one of the perks on one of those two channels. You get to hear some of the intro and background music in the beginning. So I figured with that happening, it was the perfect time to come say hello. Hi, hello. Hi everyone, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. The pups are very, very excited about having a stream apparently. They're extremely excited. Oh, thank you. I'll turn down volumes too. Let me know how that is. Hopefully that's good. Thanks for joining us, guys. Oh my goodness. Whether you are joining from YouTube or Twitch or Kick or Patreon or I don't know, some other social media, or just quietly finding your way here for the first time, I'm really glad that you're here with us. If you're new, welcome to O.N.U.H or O.N.U.H by reallyonuh if you want to be technical. And if you've been here since the beginning or you're coming back after some time away, or again, if you're new, I'm so happy that you're here. O.N.U.H or O.N.U.H exists as we know it because a lot of us are just trying to step back into that more intentional way of living, right? Just learning more. My dog's drinking water, if you guys can hear that in the background. It's real life over here. Anyways, but this community really exists because we're just trying to step back into that more intentional way of living, right? Just learning self-reliance, sustainability, accountability too with that, all of the abilities apparently, and how to take more control over what we consume, what we, how we nourish ourselves, and just how dependent we are on corporations and big systems and things like that to keep our families sustained and healthy in quotations. So, maybe you're 30 something like me and you're just realizing that you never learned a lot of basic skills that allow you, I guess, to be more self-sufficient and less reliant on those corporations and systems, to be able to be just sustainable on your own. Whether that's like your entire lifestyle or just bits and parts of it, like we can all learn to stand on our own 2 feet a little bit more, I think. I really do. Or maybe you have always known all of the basic life skills. I don't know you. I don't know your situation specifically. And maybe you just want to offer your own expertise or like even refresh some of your skills. Maybe you'll even learn something different. I don't know. But whatever your situation is, you will definitely learn something here, I think. And you certainly have a place here with us. I think we're a fun little community at the very least. Even if you know all the things and you just come here to help teach us, I think you'll find a group of like-minded people, which is always fun. But yeah, I think the biggest thing to remember as we're going through these learning series, and just especially as we get closer to actually experimenting, like physically working with objects instead of just talking about theories, right? we're not a community that's about perfection or expert level anything or doing everything all at once, right? As you can tell, this has already been a slow series, not only because it's been broken up by some time, but because there's multiple parts. I said it's going to at least be a 4 to 6 part series. And we're doing 3 tonight, and then part 3, I should say, and then part 4 tomorrow. So we're already at that point, and then we still have a couple more. But yeah, I think our goals here are always just, you know, remember that we're just trying to learn together. We're just building skills slowly, and really just creating a life that feels calmer and, I guess, more capable and maybe a little more grounded, a little bit less like we're having to be in the rat race and the corporate control all of the time. Or maybe you're just kind of like I was when I first started this journey and just want more control of what is going in your body or what is going in your, you know, household things, which also, newsflash, affects your body. So I don't know, maybe you're like me and you have all sorts of weird allergies, and not food. I don't have food necessarily, but that's also a big thing too, you know. I have a lot of fragrance allergies and a lot of like environmental allergies and things like that, so I have to be really careful about what is around me and what I surround myself with. And then I'm also very concerned about the things that I put just in my body in general. So maybe you're like that. Maybe that's your only purpose. Whatever it is, you definitely, I think, will find a good place here with us. We have a wide range of people that have lots of knowledge and people that have no knowledge. And like me, I'm barely beginning. So anyways, whether you're, you know, actively chatting with us today, or maybe you're leaving comments, maybe you're just lurking and hanging out quietly, whatever it is, all is welcome here. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for being here and choosing to learn alongside us. You are definitely watching us on the replay on YouTube. If you didn't know about it, we have 2 YouTube channels. One is at reallyonuh, at reallyonuh, and then we have at O.N.U.H, which is our main channel. That's the at O.N.U.H channel, at O.N.U.H channel. So yeah, anyways, just now you know. We also have all of our linkages, all of our socials here, and you can follow all these links and find all of the good things that you could ever need in life. It's true, everything is there. That's a rumor. I can't officially say that. Anyways, whatever you're doing here, I'm glad that you're here. If you want to have maybe a little bit more deeper community connection with everybody, Patreon and Discord are the best way to do that, I would say, outside of streams. Those are also linked in the link tree as well. And just fair warning, the Discord is about to get a full makeover soon. Maybe not like a full one, but a pretty good one, just to be more in line with the things that we're doing now. So stay tuned for that. If you're not a part of it, it's a good time to join so you can get familiar with all the things. But yeah, anyways, all right. Before we jump into everything, how is everyone? How are you guys doing today? How's your week been? What's going on in your world? I freaking love Match My Freak. Hi, Sky. How are you? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Simon, for putting those links in all of the chats, you freaking angel. Make sure you check out the chat links, and that'll take you to everything. You can also see it, I believe, on the screen, but if you're here in real time, it's easier to just click right there, right? But if you're watching it on replay, there you go. And don't worry, all the links are, most of the links anyways, pretty much all of them are also in the YouTube live video description as well. So you guys should have all of your resources to everything. I'm just going to go back a little bit in the Twitch chat and catch up with you guys. I saw Simon very first, and then I saw John, and my heart was like boom, boom, boom. And then the lyrics stole the show. Oh goodness, it was too funny. That I did a full LOL, especially because I wasn't honestly fully listening. I kind of probably did the same thing you guys did. I heard the kind of gentleness and whateverness at the beginning, and then suddenly it was saying that, and I was like, whoa, this is a coffee shop playlist, ma'am. What is going on here? So yeah, anyway, I mean, listen, it's a progressive coffee shop, what can I say? Oh man, how are you doing, guys? How's life? How's everything treating you? I am so behind on life. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but like, holy moly, I feel like I have. It's only been a week really since we've chatted with everyone, but like, my God, I feel like I've just been out of touch because life has been a whirlwind over here. But oof, hi Delone, how's work?
They have
how's
given
it going?
45 gift subs in the channel.
Yes, thank you, Simon, for prefacing this with no question is a silly question. We love questions. We are all here to learn. We had questions from last stream, well, at least one anyways, that we're gonna answer this stream as well. So yeah, like, please do. That's how we all learn, because most of the time actually I have no clue. I genuinely have no clue. I have no clue either what question you're gonna ask. I mean, sometimes I know, but like, I'm not an expert either, right? We're learning together. We are learning together. Oh my God, congrats on the new job. Heck yeah. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you're enjoying it. Oh my, Simon, I can't even keep up with all the goodness. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. That's so freaking sweet. Thank you for gifting a sub to Sky Mist, you angel. Really appreciate you so dang much. Coffee with some crack, honestly, but yeah, coffee with a little extra milk and sugar for sure. For sure, John. Oh my goodness. Thank you again, Simon, you freaking sweetie pie. Also, for those of you who don't already know Simon, make sure you do. Oh, I almost made a really funny typo. Make sure you go check out make sure you go check out all of his amazing products. Okay, I need to not look at a screen and copy and paste while I'm speaking. I'm trying to copy these into the other chats. Make sure that you guys go check out his amazing projects. He's extremely talented and makes absolutely wonderful music. Like, you genuinely really need to check it out. He has primary project and some solo projects, and he also helps other people make music, and he is just so incredibly talented. So make sure you go say hi. Thank you again, Simon, you sweet freaking angel. I really appreciate you. Click those linkages, my loves. Yes, do it. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well for the most part. I hope that you guys have had a good week. I hope that everything's going all right for you. If you don't already know, I'll fill you in. And for those of you who do know, then I'll just give you a quick little overview. I am I'm preparing my house to sell, and I'm moving out of state and buying a house out of state. So it is a whole process of selling one home, but first of all, preparing it to fully sell, or fully preparing it to sell rather, and then figuring out the whole move situation and buying another home in another state. So it is a whole new world for me. I'm the big age of 30 something, 30, what am I, 36, and someday I'll remember my age, I don't know. But anyways, I have never moved like out of country. I've moved a lot, or out of country, my lord, that either, but out of state. I've moved a ton, like through different cities, like more than 20 times probably. I have moved so many fucking times. There was a point in my life where I had moved like double the amount of my age. Does that make sense? Like, I think it was, can't remember if I was like 18 by then, 17, 16, somewhere in there. I don't know, but it was a lot. I've moved well over 20 times. Like, I've moved so many times. But anyways, I've never moved out of state. So that's a whole new thing for me. I'm very nervous about it, but I'm really excited about it. So that has been a whole process. And if you've been following along, you know a little bit about it already, but it's been just a lot of meetings and a lot of like vetting people and trying to figure out like, who do you trust to help you with an entire life change, right? Like, that's that's kind of a big deal. So some people move like it's no big deal at all, right? And like, that's totally cool, but like, I am definitely like a bubble comfort nest egg type of girl, so this is a whole new world for me. Anyways, between all of the meetings, and we've liked and not liked some people, so we have to continue doing some interviewing. This is for like real estate agents and mortgage lenders and some stuff like that. So we've had to continue meetings and doing some other things. But yeah, hopefully the meetings will kind of calm down here in the next week or so. And aside from that, it has been so much physical labor, y'all. Like, my God, I have genuinely been nonstop sweating and working with an E, working my butt off. Like, it has been so much work. Redoing the deck, preparing the whole house to obviously be sold, which means like decluttering so many truckloads of just like random junk and giveaway like donations, and then straight up just trash. A lot of it was from the previous owners, unfortunately, but that's okay, we got it out there. So yeah, oh my goodness, you guys, so many so many things going on over here. This next weekend, both days, sun up to sundown, we'll have all landscaping, call it landscaping the front and backyard, whatever. Anyways, lots of stuff to do, just tons of like cleanup from the winter, tons of just like getting things ready, right? Like we have to do a lot of weeding and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a lot on my end, and we have so many more things to do. So yeah, it is fun times, but it is also so chaotic. So much going on. But yeah, that is it. That's all of it. That's my quick update. That's life. There's a lot more to it. I'll talk more about it in bits and pieces. It's also why scheduling is kind of flighty lately, flightier than normal, and especially why I'm not really confirming scheduling until like late in the week. That hopefully will ease up just a little here in a while, once I stop having so many meetings and kind of things that I have to push out and reserve the schedule for and like wait to hear back on things. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe, guys. It's been a little bit crazy. My goodness, how's work and how is life, Simon? Oh my goodness. We are moving to Oregon. Not cheap housing there, that is for sure. I'm very excited. Your buddy has been going through that shit. Yeah. The moving shit, is that the miserable thing you're talking about? Because that shit's miserable. Or moving out of state or whatever, all of the above. All of the things. How's life going for you, John? How's work? Work search, I should say. It's not really search, right? Because you've been like waiting to be officially official with them, or are you like officially official now? Catch us up on the things. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear. Thank you for fixing broken lank. Thank you for broken lank. Yes, that's so nice that you have your catch up right now and get to just like be a little bit less chaotic for a bit. That's always a good thing. Just looking around. Okay, I see. Is he selling as well as buying, or is he just looking to buy? Either way, it's so much. Oh my god. What's there? Oh my gosh, that's exciting though. It's just getting stuff ready. That's awesome. Oof, exciting. I can't wait for that for you. Productive 2 weeks. Hell yeah. I'm proud of you too. That's amazing. Good for you. Being able to get it in gear and really just like catch up on everything and take care of things is huge. I had so much more motivation. That's amazing as well. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for that too. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you, Simon. I can imagine state bureaucracy does not sound fun at all. Renting, looking to buy. Okay, if I was in that position. I don't know if he's first time buyer or whatever the situation is, but regardless, buying a home is so stressful. Oh my god. That's all stressful. Selling a home is stressful, buying a home is stressful, moving out of state is stressful. I'm just taking it on all at once. It's fine. Maybe your buddy will have, I'll be able to give your buddy good tips as we're going through the process. I'm not going to share too much about it, but whew, it's kind of unavoidable at a certain point because I tell you guys a lot of things. Anyways, if you guys are just arriving in, welcome. Say hi if you want, or settle in quietly and lurk if that's more your vibe, whatever the situation is. All right, friends, let's get started with today's. If I could change my screen and talk at the same time, that would be good. Yeah, there we go. Yes. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with today's stream. I'm ready for it. I've been waiting and preparing, and I've been excited. So welcome to the official learning segment, my loves. Small steps, real skills. We figure it out together. That's right, together. Okay, so we are back with our Canning 101 series. If you're like, what do you mean back? This is the first time I'm watching. This is part 3. So if you haven't already, go ahead and go back to part 2 and part 1 on the YouTube pages. They're actually on 2 different pages. I know it's kind of confusing. Sorry. Maybe I'll upload the one to this new channel. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But in the meantime, they're on 2 different channels. So they're linked in the YouTube video description, and you can also find them in chat. Thank you, Simon. I really appreciate that. You already beat me to it. Part 2, Simon is putting in the link for, so you guys can catch up on that if you would like. Or again, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe as a replay even, then go back to part 1 and then watch part 2 and then come to part 3. Yay. Good job, guys. All right. So in part 1, we learned what canning actually is, just kind of basically a little overview, why food safety even matters and what it is. Thank you, Simon. And Simon also dropped in part 1 as well, so you guys can check those linkages out and go watch them or save them or whatever you would like to do. Because if you're here live and you're like, I want to watch this live, well, then you can go back and reference those if you'd like. Thank you again, Simon. Really appreciate you. So in part 1, we learned what canning actually is, why food safety even matters. We learned about high acid versus low acid foods, and we learned why tested recipes are non-negotiable, right? Okay. In part 2, we slowed everything down and we learned more about like workflow and sort of making sure that we're having repeatable systems. We learned about the very simple process of washing, packing, lidding, sealing, and labeling. We watched all those. And we watched all those. I mean, we learned all those. We did watch a movie as well. We watched a little supplemental video, but that's not what I meant. We learned about those. So tonight we're not going to like rehash a bunch of that, right? But today in part 3, we're doing something that's pretty important in the canning process. And this is why I wanted to build up to this before just like jumping into all of these systems. We've kind of poked and prodded at them a little bit and like talked about them a tiny bit. But today we are really just like removing the unknown or the like fear, I guess, around canning equipment. I don't think everyone has a fear of it by any means. I just know that some people do. And it can be a bit of a doozy for some. For others, it's just like a curiosity, right? But either way, we're arming ourselves with information. Statistically, they say anyways, most beginners don't quit canning because of like failed recipes or like mishaps or all of the kind of scare tactics that we hear about with like things blowing up or shattering or whatever. They actually quit before they really even start because the tools can seem really intimidating. Okay, so that's not going to be us though. Today, this stream is, in this community in general, right? But especially this stream is about turning our like fear or uncertainty, the mystery around canning and canning equipment into just familiarity, in basic, simple familiarity. Okay, nothing too crazy. All right. Okay. Just saying. I know these things can be a little bit, especially like water baths, pressure canning. Water baths can be a little intimidating, but I would say pressure canning can be a bit more. But don't worry, we're gonna walk through these things, and you can even talk about like, oh my god, I've heard this and that, or like I'm scared about this or that or whatever, and we can walk through that kind of stuff because I guarantee I've thought about it as well. I'm a worrywart, so Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is such a good point. Thank you, John. Or if you don't want to watch the streams, you can literally just get the cheat sheets from Patreon, which PS more are coming this weekend. So you can do that as well. And then you can also, there are plenty of, don't worry, also free resources on Patreon as well. But of course there's tiers that again just go back into the stream and the stream quality and stuff like that. But there's tiers to support that offer you even more resources and cheat sheets and things like that. I try to make them as easy as I can. Literally most of them, not all of them, but like the cheat sheets, I should say, I'm going to like laminate and probably like keep in a little binder in my kitchen because they're really helpful. Like they just have a lot of like the really important things at a glance, so you don't have to like sit there and think about it and like read through a bunch of paragraphs either. Like it's just kind of right there in front of your face, you know. It's a very good little plug there. Thanks, John. Segue over to Patreon. If you guys haven't already checked it out, it is free to join, like I was saying, and you can get the weekly updates. We also have like a weekly roadmap there of kind of where we've been and where we're going, and I'll put bonus content on there as well. And then we also have the paid tiers, as I was saying, which get more resources and more into depth on the topics and series that we're going into. There's more like activities and more Q&A opportunities and even live streams and stuff over on Patreon. So make sure you check that out if you would like. We will be having our first live stream in April, aka this month. I'm excited for it, which probably will be either maybe like a live Q&A session of sorts, or like maybe like an actual canning experiment, which is what I would like to push for. So depending on how far we get and everything with moving, that's kind of the vibe there. But anyways, thanks for bringing that up, John. You reminded me. But for real, there's so many good like options, and it's true. Okay, listen, jars may not be so scary, right? Maybe someone was actually traumatized by them. Was there really an Amari episode of someone traumatized? No way. That actually cracks me up. Is that for real? I mean, not to like make some fun of somebody's like trauma, but like also what in the world? That's so unique. Anyways, but jars themselves can be, right? We've heard of jars shattering and glass like shattering if you don't do things correctly. But yeah, I think like especially pressure canning has that kind of like stigma to it. But we are going to bust down that stigma. Bust down, Tatiana. That's what we're gonna do. Ooh, right? Yeah, like make a big binder out of it all so it can all just be there to like access in one space or whatever. Used AI to do a really cool thing. I had tons of saved Facebook posts from Audio Forum. Okay. Such useful info. I dumped it all into Claude and had turned into 169. Wait, 169 page reference book? That's amazing. Handy dandy reference? My God. No, that's so cool. What? No, I've not seen those. I mean, I've seen Mari, but I've not seen that one. Green olives. Oh no. I'm sure I've seen them like back in the day. Petrified by random shit. Oh no. I'm sure I would. Yeah, that's what it would be, is a rabbit hole for sure for me. That is so cool. See, if you have to use AI and things like that, it's, make it at least work for you. Don't just be like drawing boobies on people. You know what I'm saying? Do you catch my flow? Those of you out there that may need to hear that. I hope it reaches you. To do that all by hand. Like, my God. Find the video. Oh my gosh. I'm nervous. Okay. So, I think we covered this, and I've been saying this, but I'm just going to kind of emphasize it again. We do emphasize learning before we do anything. And the reason we do it so much is because, especially with stuff like canning, it's so easy to make a small mistake and just completely derail your entire project. Or think your project's great and everything's wonderful until 5 months down the line, or a month, or whenever, when you really need it and you go to open it and it's got effing CBOT or mold all over it, or whatever the situation is, right? We don't want to run into those issues. So that is why I'm really spending a long time, mostly for myself, folks, because I'm a learner, but I need a lot of information to learn. Okay. I also learn really, really well by doing and seeing and stuff like that. So hopefully you're the same way, and this is good for you as well. But anyways, that's why we are really just focusing so much on learning before we're actually touching anything, because we really want to be confident before we're actually doing anything, and we want to learn our systems before we're actually messing with anything, before we're actually running any type of like controls or experiments or anything of the sort. Well, I guess those would be our controls, right? But before we're doing any type of our experiments, you just don't want to get sick is the main thing here. You don't want to get sick, so just pay attention. All right? Don't get sick. Pay attention. Don't worry. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not gonna watch this yet, but I'm going to save this because I can't fathom this situation. But I'm quite interested. Oh my goodness. There you have that link in chat, folks. Bring out the olives full video. This cannot be a thing. How is this real life? Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay. Hopefully this doesn't start playing. It's like acting like it's going to, but not. I don't know. That's sus. You guys will have to tell me if you start hearing about Mari's olive situation. Well, not his, I guess his viewers, but you know what I'm saying. Right? Yeah. Getting sick from not properly canning something can really, really, really mess you up. Like, it can be really bad. You've only had food poisoning once. My God, you definitely don't have to live in America, I can tell. Ugh, I have had food poisoning way too many times. Enough to be like, what the hell are they feeding us? And I'm done eating this. Like, for real. Yeah, it makes you sick though. Like, it really is a week to get over that stuff. Lucky my system is pretty damn sturdy. Maybe it's a combo, honestly. Maybe it's a combo. A little combo nation. All right. Oh, wait, no, go back. You little shits. Stay here. Clicked on the wrong page. I was trying to click into chat and I ended up in another dimension. Anyways, so canning equipment exists for one reason, which is what I was trying to say, but my brain and my mouth were not coexisting properly, right? Okay. So canning equipment exists for one reason, and that is control. In any type of like scientific experiment, you have your control. You need your control in your systems before you can ever conduct any type of experiment, right? So your equipment, is control over like temperature and airflow and bacteria destruction, which is huge, what we're literally talking about, and your sill formation, which all of those things help you avoid having any type of bacteria destruction, which is or having any need, I should say, for bacteria destruction. So every piece of your equipment supports the science that you already learned. We are building a controlled environment. That's why we've talked about our flow of things. We talked about, high acid versus low acid foods, understanding which one needs to be canned in which different way. We talked about tested recipes. This is why we learned the flow of things, which is the wash, then pack, then lid, then sill, then label, right? We learned all of the kind of, those are the overarching subjects, but we have all of our different little like categories below in there. Like with washing, you have to set everything up first. You have to get everything sterilized properly, yada, yada, yada. Again, that is in part 2. If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, go back and watch that. So we have our control. We're really just building a controlled environment. That's all that we're doing. We're trying to make sure that we have control over our temperatures of everything. We want to make sure that we have control over airflow. We want to make sure that we have control over not having any errors or issues that cause bacteria. And we want to make sure that we have a good, proper seal on our cans. Those are like the main points. So the two real methods of canning are always going to be water bath canning and pressure canning, which I think you'll see on the next one too. Yeah, this is kind of only true methods. We have to go kind of back and forth. So everything else people mention, which is like, you know, pickling, jams, fermenting, all those food styles are not equipment methods. Those are just food styles. That's kind of something we talked about last time, but glazed over a little bit. So remember, our main things here, why equipment exists, why it's important for us, is control. We're just trying to make sure we have a good temperature, good airflow, good heat transfer, and good silt formation. Now, that doesn't mean we have to have every effing tool under the sun. We also don't need the newest tools under the sun. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can easily be done in whatever budget you would like it to be done, which we'll also talk about in a little bit as well. So just know, equipment exists to essentially be the control of your I almost said equipment. Your equipment exists to be the control of your scientific experiment, essentially, if you're just looking at it kind of overhead. So you need to make sure your temperature, your airflow, your heat transfer, and your seal are good so that you don't have any type of bacteria. And any type of bacteria is destroyed because you have followed all of these controls. Okay. So again, all of your equipment just supports the science that you have already learned. And then we've got our two canning methods. We talked about these a little at the very beginning, but these are the only two methods. So before I jump into this, let me go back to chat. Let's see. Okay. So, let's see. Said I was talking in my sleep and everything. Oh no. So sick you were delirious. It does that though. Food poisoning really does that. And like CBOT from this type of stuff can really, really do that stuff. They say if you get something as bad as like CBOT, it can take weeks to fully recover from it too. That's awful. Like having that type of delirium and feeling like you're honestly probably feeling like you're dying. Really, like that's terrible. Yeah. Yep. Yes. I think that's just it, John, is there's been plenty of things that have just been in the danger zone too long. And you really wouldn't know it by the taste. It's not like you could tell that you're eating something rotten or like gross. Like it tastes normal for the most part, you know? But yeah, it will just mess you up. Sure, we're feeling awful and being sent home from work because I've looked awful. I bet. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Okay. What was the difference between the high and low acid storages again? Remember, isn't it the ratio based on keeping it safe, like needing salt if less acid? Yeah. People have used this for generations. Older primitive stuff worked just fine. Exactly. And it'll be fine now. You don't have to get all the like fanciest gadgets. You do not need all of the fanciest things. Okay, let me go back though. I'm reading this all as like kind of a chunk. So okay, so well, I don't know. High and low acid storages. Let me think. Okay, so we have like our like the methods that you would use for canning with high acid and low acid, but storage, I think storage would be the same no matter what you could keep either of them in your pantry. So like your is that what you're asking? Before I go off, I just want to make sure, is that what you're kind of saying, like, or do you mean like actually storing them like after they're canned and completed? Let me know what the difference. I might have misunderstood that. We'll wait here just a sec to make sure. But yeah, so when you have your like high acid foods and low acid foods, they're going to be canned, or canned, am I saying that right? Yeah, canned differently. Is that what you're meaning? give you just a sec here. My computer, I think, really needs like an overhaul, guys. I'm really sad about it, but I really think it does. I think it's just like, it's struggling, honestly. I think it's struggling. Like the most simple things that I'm doing are just doing weird stuff. Anyways, you did reply and my thing hasn't been working. Okay, so is there any difference in methods of canning and storing? Okay, yeah. Yes, no, you're totally good. Okay, so Simon's asking, is there any difference in methods for canning and storing high versus low acid? So yes, so there's a difference in canning. So you've got your, oh my gosh, I wanted to pull up the what do you call it? The part that we were learning about this in, but it's like it's not giving me. It won't let me show you guys. Okay, so high acid, can I just move it over this? Because that would be really helpful. High acid versus low acid. Let me see if I can put this over here. You guys should be able to see this. Yes! Okay, so high acid foods are water bath. Those are going to be water baths. And it's because the acid already did the job. The acidity of the food itself, right, is already doing the job of basically taking the bad parts out. Is I think honestly is just like the most general way to say it, like the most basic way to say it. So the acid does most of the work and then you're heating it to the right temperature with the water bath essentially. So high acid is always going to be water bath. And then low acid is always going to be pressure canning, because low acid has to make up for the last lack of acidity, which kind of essentially like pickles it a little bit. I should say, sorry, the high acid, those kind of essentially pickle themselves a bit. So because these low acid items don't have that, we have to make up for some of that in the pressure canning. So we're adding pressure and a little bit more heat to it as well. Great question. And then as far as storage, no, there's no difference in storage. Wherever you're storing your canned goods, whether it's like a pantry or like some type of, hopefully it's in like a cupboard, because you really don't want it to just be out like on a, what do you call it? Like an open counter or like a shelf or something. You don't want it to be like exposed to sunlight, because that helps things age quickly and go bad. It helps them ripen, and we don't want that situation. So wherever you're keeping them, you can keep them all together. Totally can keep them all together. Yeah. It was. Yeah. This was from stream 1, so no worries at all. Good question. Wait. I'd have to, but I thought lower acid needed salt or other. No. But we'll talk about salt preservation as well with things, but that's totally not needed for like canning. No. So there are certain like delicacy type foods. I don't know how much, we'll probably get into that on like the last lesson that we're doing before we start actually physically experimenting. But I think those are more like one-offs of things that with lower acid, or certain like delicacy items that would need to be salted to help with the bacteria essentially, and then you would do your canning. But I think that's so rare and one-off. It's more like the general rule of thumb: high acid water bath, low acid pressure canning, and then you're just storing them all in the darkness essentially. Yeah, I think that's the best way. Yeah, you were though. Yeah, it does. It needs more heat. There are certain things though, like you're even more than half right, honestly, John, because there are certain things that are more, I guess, artisanal. I don't know the right word. I feel like delicacy is the right way to say it. That will needs salt as well with it, but that it's pretty rare. Like yeah. it's very recipe specific as well. And any recipe that I shouldn't say it's very rare. That's actually not what I meant. It's just not the rule of thumb. But it does exist. And each recipe that you use obviously will kind of guide you that direction or like tell you what you need to do for that. Great questions. I love it. Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Salt is definitely more for like dry preserving, which we will absolutely be talking about because I want to learn more about that type of stuff. Salt definitely needs to kill out the bacteria. It pulls out the moisture and that also leaves less breeding grounds for bacteria, which is great. Yeah. No. Drying meats don't use the high heat that canning does. And if anything, like if you're naturally drying meats, you could do that like out in the sun or whatever, but you're not like hot shotting immediately with heat the way that like a water bath or a pressure canning system would be. Like you're drying over time, much more slow roast situation, I guess is the best way to say that. Yeah, that's a very good point. So again, there are only 2 canning methods. People talk about like pickling and fermenting and so many drying things, so many other things, right? And don't worry, we will talk about those things, but those are just food styles. Those are not equipment methods. Those are completely different preservation styles, methods, whatever you want to call them, okay? So we've got, stay here. My goodness. We've got our water bath canning, and that is where your water needs to boil at least 214 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. And this temperature will safely process things like fruits, jams, jellies, properly acidified tomatoes, and pickles, stuff like that. Okay. So remember, high acid is what prevents dangerous bacteria growth. So you only have to water bathe it. The pressure canning is for things that are not high acid, which we'll talk about. So again, if you missed any of this knowledge from part 1, go back and catch that stream. We aren't really going to reteach acidity science fully in this stream since we've covered that, but that would be a good resource. Or of course, the Patreon cheat sheets are also a lovely way to catch yourself up as well. So pressure canners are a little bit different, right? We're changing physics essentially with pressure canners. we're pressure canners change physics is the best way to really think about it. They trap steam. The pressure from that trap steam rises and it increases the temperature. So inside your pressure canner, you need to be around 240 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Shit, I forgot to convert that to Celsius. What is that Celsius? Let's see. I want that in this, so let's double check that. I know I have it in other places, but I would like it here. Celsius. Okay, so we would be like 115 and a half to 121.1. Does that sound right? Point and a half, right? Am I doing that right? 2. That seems right? Yeah. I get messed up on my temperature conversions. 121. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Oh, I need wait. Yeah, like cooking in general, fast and hot versus low and slow. Exactly. Totally true. Do you think those methods came out just to fill specific niches? These 2 true methods. I think, well, honestly, I think these methods came after the other ones. I think those other ones were more primitive. Like we had like at least stories, right, of our ancestors or cavemen or whatever angle you want to look at, I guess we can call it, that they were like laying out their meat and drying it on rocks and stuff like that, or like on hot rocks or things like that, or they were and that was to keep meat around longer because they would know the difference between that versus like, immediately cooking it on the fire so they could enjoy it then or like the next day or something. And things like pickling and stuff like that, I think also came before all of this, before they had equipment, because they were like, wait, if we use vinegar or if we use these types of things, we notice that the vegetables stay better for longer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm imagining like out on the prairie type of thing. Like, they had fire, they had like very, you know, like basic things. But I think this is a much more luxurious, like a much more elevated version of the things that they were probably doing. I guarantee that they were doing some type of water bath and like maybe some type of pressure canning, but I think that they were invented much more recently than a lot of that earlier stuff. Yeah. So like offshoots, people trying to be trendy and cool. Yeah, no, it's totally the other way. I don't know how much, let's see. I think we talked about this, but I forgot actually. So let's look. When was water bath canning? Okay. So water bath canning was invented around 1809. So that's pretty, like, that's primitive. I mean, compared to us, right? But that's not like so primitive. But it was a French chef, Nicolas Appert. I remember learning about this. That's right. Okay. Who developed the method of heating food in sealed glass jars to preserve it. And then he won a prize that Napoleon Bonaparte was like offering. And his method involved boiling sealed jars for hours. And that is where we got the foundation for modern food preservation. Okay, so then when was pressure canning? Pressure. Okay, so then pressure canning came after, which I think I knew that water was first. So pressure canning was developed for commercial use in the early 1900s, around 1905 to 1915, to safely process low acid foods, with the USDA recognizing as a reliable method by 1917. Oh, wait, but they say pressure cookers, like the steam digester, it's interesting, date back to 1679. They were not adapted into safe, effective home pressure canners until the 20th century. So, I mean, still though, they were doing steam pressure cookers and like steam bath canning and shit clear back in like the 16 and 1800s. So this is all relatively, like, for us, this is all seems extremely primitive, like very much early settler type people using these types of things. But I think even before that, I know before that, that's when they were doing things like essentially making jerky before they actually knew what it was, you know, and like smoking things like fish and stuff like that to make it last longer, because they were hunter-gatherers. They were getting things in bulk when they did get it, and they had to figure out how to stretch it for longer. It's so interesting to learn about. So like these have really been around so long, honestly. That is so interesting. Wow. Thank you so much, Simon, for translating that in there for us. Really appreciate it. I thought I had it on this too, so I'm kind of annoyed by that. It's okay though. It's okay. We're learning. We're learning. Okay, don't worry. So the reason that these temperatures are so important is because it destroys CBOT spores. It destroys your Clostridium botulinum spores. Botulinum. I love that word. Messing with it. Anyways, but those temperatures are actually really important. Make sure you pay attention. These are on all of our cheat sheets and things like that as well. Make yourself a little cheat sheet if you're not on Patreon and you want to do that yourself. But yeah, these are important. Make sure that you understand what temperatures that things need to be at so you don't get the CBOT. So this pressure canner is going to be needed for things like vegetables or meats or soups, stocks, broths, whatever, beans, stuff like that. Stuff that is like low to like no acid, right? And then again, your water bath is going to be fruits, jams, jellies, tomatoes, pickled things, stuff like that. This is something that is, I think, important as well. This is a like critical clarification, so make sure you pay attention. pressure canners are not pressure cookers, okay? So I've seen people do this, and I actually wondered. I was like, oh, I have a pressure cooker. Like, I could do this too. No. Don't fucking do it. Okay. Excuse me. But like, that's how important this is. Don't do it. Pressure canners are not pressure cookers. Pressure cookers cook your food quickly. They're just meant to be like a quick one and done for food that is ready to be consumed right now. Pressure canners maintain the precise processing environments that are needed to actually like sterilize and can your things, right? I have seen people on the TikTok, on the Instagram, on the YouTube doing stupid A stuff like using their pressure cooker to freaking can things. No, just don't do it. Don't do it. That noise is me smacking your forehead. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Listen to me. Right? Very different, John says. Key point. Pressure canners are not pressure cookers. Yes. Oh, God. Also, and this is not to make fun of anyone, because again, I was this beginner looking at it like, oh, I have one of those. I don't even have to buy a new one. Yes, you do. Okay? Or thrift one, or find one. Like, do not just invent things to use. A lot of beginners actually accidentally buy the wrong tool for that. So just make sure that you are getting the correct thing. Pressure canner, not pressure cooker. Okay. And then a water bath canner, pressure canner, water bath canner, pressure canner, not pressure cooker. Okay. Glad we got that out of the way. So, we've kind of hinted and talked about this a bit. All right. But we're going to clear up some confusion. Not everything in a jar is canned. Okay. Remember that. Not anything, just because something is jarred does not mean it's canned. Just because something is in a jar or looks like it could be canned does not mean it is automatically canned. So, pickling, right? There's acid added in there with a pickle itself. So you can water bathe it. You don't have to pressure can it, because of when you're pickling something, you don't just put water in there. You're putting vinegar and maybe salts and herbs, whatever types of things you're going to add to it, right? So you're adding your acid and then you're water bathing it. So that's pickling. That is still canning in this situation because you can water bath it. Okay. Now let's separate this. Jam and jelly, you're just adding sugar essentially, and so you're preserving the acid that way. Right. Okay. Fermentation is good beneficial bacteria, right? It's wonderful, but it's not canning. When you're fermenting things, you're not canning them. You're not sealing them the same way that you're sealing when you're canning. And obviously freezing is a great thing. It pauses your spoilage. It allows you to keep things in bulk around for longer. I freeze so many things, it's not even funny. But that just pauses spoilage. That's just a food preservation method. Even if you put it in a can, in your freezer, in a jar, whatever you want to call it, it's not canned, okay? That's just food preservation. Dehydration, which we were kind of also chatting a little bit about as well, just removes moisture. That is not canning. You could put dehydrated meat in a can, but that's not the same thing, right? You're just removing moisture. Canning is only one preservation system. So you've got your different food preservation methods, but not everything in a jar is canned. The only thing out of this, like, really that you're looking at is pickling, which some pickling you can do without water bathing. You don't have to, and you'll see specific recipes that will tell you what is safe to do with that and what is not. But most of them, you're going to add your acid into whatever you're pickling, whatever pickling item, and that becomes water bath safe, okay? But these other things, like this type of stuff, this is different. Very different. So let's talk about what's on this slide? I forgot. Yeah. Okay. This one's a good one. Let's talk more about, let's meet the tools. Let's talk about the tools. Key point. Wait. Pressure cookers are fun as hell to use though. An old school one lyrics. See, and that's the thing. That's the right way to look at it. If you can look at it in like a healthy, positive way and like, you know what I mean? Be like, this is fun and you can experiment with it. That's the way we should be looking at it. Don't look at it as like a scary thing. It's a very healthy way to view it. I like that, John. Point two. Yeah, not everything in a jar is canned. There are only 2 true canning systems is like the key point 2 point A in there. 2 point A of your key point right there. Only 2 real types of canning. And then there's, oh my gosh, yeah, lacto fermentation is really a whole can of worms. It really is though. Ew. Yuck. Okay, so every tool for your little canning gadgets and gadgets, gizmos, whatever, just has one job. You have essential equipment, and this is really all that you need. I'm going to tell you these main things, and then we'll talk about the things that are like kind of optional, nice to have, good to reduce some anxiety, but not really required, right? So your essential equipment, jars, right? You need jars. You need mason jars that are designed for heat cycling. You need to understand the difference of regular jars versus wide mouth jars and which ones can be used in which recipes is really what I mean by that. And it will tell you when you're using tried, true, tested, science-backed recipes, which is all we use, right, chat? Yes, that's all we use. That's correct. It will tell you you can use a regular or a wide mouth, or you can only use wide mouth, or you can only use regular for this. So anyways, and you know, reused commercial jars are just not it, my friends. We've hit on this just a tiny bit, but like if you get, and some people say it's great and they do it and that's fine. I think that's more power to them, YOLO. But like for me and my life and my health, I don't want to try and reuse like an old, I don't know, jam jar that I got from the store. I don't want to try and like actually, you know, water bath that or pressure can it or whatever I'm going to do. I want to use like the real just basic mason jar. That's what they're designed for. They're designed to hold the heat. They're designed for heat cycling, and they're designed to seal properly, and that's just the best way to do it. So really your jars are your main thing. Just invest in some decent jars. You can get them at the thrift store. Just check the lids and make sure that they're
Simon_mindset gifted a tier 1
oh
sub
my
to
God,
Elijah
underscore crazy.
Revolve.
Hi, Elijah.
They have given 46
You
gift
have
subs
one
in the
job,
channel.
Mr. Piece of Equipment. Hi, Elijah. How the heck are you doing? Thank you for the gifted sub to Elijah, Simon. What in the world? That is actually insane. Actually insane. Thank you so much. Seriously. Now you can enjoy some ad-free viewing and some lovely emotes. We always love that. Yes, we do. Thanks again, Simon, you freaking sweetie pie. Welcome back to the sub club, Elijah. How are you doing? How have you been? I've missed you. It's good to see you. Welcome in. We're learning about canning. Because food preservation and self-reliability are cool. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. All right, we're living. We are truly living here. So, lids and bands, the big deal, right? We're gonna go back to this last slide too. Don't worry, but we're moving to this for a second. So, lids and bands are a big deal. Speaking of jars, you always want to have a 2-piece system. I don't care what anybody on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or X or whatever the you're watching tells you. I use this old jar that my granny had from her caramel sauce 70 years ago. I don't care. Make sure you have a 2-piece system. And the most important part here, one, is that your jar, your lid is not cracked, chipped, any missing parts, nothing. It just needs to be sealed. Not sealed. It needs to be solid and soft, just a regular glass opening. Your metal lid needs to be not rusted. That's a big key component because that happens when stuff sits, especially if you're looking secondhand. So just be aware. And then you also need to make sure the sealing compound is there. After a couple times, or even maybe one, maximum 2 times of canning things, you'll notice the sealing compound is either gone or mostly gone. You don't want to keep using it. Get a new one. You can literally buy an entire box of these from the store, from Amazon, from wherever you're getting your lids and stuff like that. And you can just get these. You don't have to get this whole part or the jar or whatever. You can also just buy these. Lots of very good things. You can also just buy jars without these, or just these without jars. So there's a lot of options. But it's really important, and it's worth it to just invest in maybe like a box of these to have around if you're planning on canning a bit. Also, make sure your metal screw bands don't have rust along the inside. That is the most important thing, because that can happen really easily when things sit, when metal is just kind of chilling there, if there's any humidity, stuff like that. So very important. You have your metal screw band. This is what we want to do, only finger tight, right? When we're canning, as we've learned, just finger tight. You have your metal lid, which really protects everything and actually seals to the jar. This is truly just to kind of keep things in place, as sort of like an added layer of protection, but this is not doing anything. This item, this metal lid and the sealing compound are doing all of the work with the jar. So those are your main things, but you still need this as well when you're canning. So bands get removed when you store them. Now, I want to talk about this, and hang on, I need to fix something. Okay, there we go. My little presentation thing was like not working for me. I can't move anything over here. Okay, so the reason that the bands are removed, because I think this confuses a lot of people, and in some, I think even in here you can see a lot of these, this is not, unless these are just pickled and not actually fully canned, that's not really how you leave your things. You don't want to leave them with the lids on, but you see it in a lot of these. And I think that confuses a lot of people. Like, you even see it in storage situations. But true canners know that you are actually not supposed to leave it on. The reason being, the main reason here is because you have to confirm a true seal. After processing, your flat lid is going to form a vacuum seal with your jar rim. If you leave the band on, a failed seal can be hidden because the band holds the lid in place, right? You would never even notice it until you go to open it. Or the jar could look sealed even though it's like not fully safe. So removing this band, this metal screw band, whatever you want to call it, it lets you verify that, first of all, the lid stays attached by the vacuum seal alone, and that, you know, if it pops off, the jar was never properly sealed. So having a no band is really your like honest seal check, and it also helps prevent hidden spoilage. So food spoilage can produce gas inside the jar, and if that band stays on, gas pressure might not like lift the lid visibly, but spoilage will go unnoticed. So without the band, the lid could loosen or pop, and you would notice then something's wrong, right? But if the band is on, that gas pressure may sort of keep this little metal lid section here to the state where you think it hasn't been lifted. And then that obviously gives you all of that spoilage. Not good. So you're doing this to avoid mold and CBOT and also rust. Bands like this, after canning, after their process is kind of done, they are typically associated with things like rusted bands, mold growth, and bands also getting stuck permanently to jars, because after that gas and everything kind of moves around or things shift, whatever the situation is, it can create a permanent seal, and then you've lost your jar and whatever you had inside of it, which could suck. And then the main thing that a lot of people will talk about if you're watching like other maybe social medias or things like that, this is like science class, isn't it, Elijah? is to prevent false seals. So sometimes like food residue or sugar like siphons onto the rim during the canning process, which sucks, right? Because you've already you've already wiped it all down. You've already done everything you can, but that tight band can actually hold the lid down mechanically, and it can create that false seal instead of like a vacuum seal. So when you're removing the band, you're ensuring that the seal is like actually doing the work. And that's especially important over time. Obviously after, you do your canning, and before you're like actually storing them, you let your jars cool out in the open for like 12 to 24 hours, depending on your recipe. You remove all of your bands, you wash any of like the jar exteriors if it's needed, if like anything's sticky or whatever. And then you label and date, and then you store without your bands in that cool, dark place, essentially. So bands are for processing, not for storage. That is the key takeaway, okay? Bands are for processing, not for storage. Just remember that. I think that's the most important thing to say on there. So again, you have your flat lid, your metal lid, whatever you want to call it. This has your sealing compound. Your band just holds it during processing and is only fingertip tight. This is the only thing here doing the work. These two guys right here. Just your metal lid, your flat lid, your whatever, your sealing compound in your jar. That's it. The other thing is just kind of like a little bracer in there for you, you know? You know what I'm saying? Summer school is the worst. This is like science class though. Canning is literally science. But it's not the scary kind of science. It's the basic kind. As long as you just take the right steps and learn the key components of it, it really is simple. But it truly is. I was just saying earlier, I was like, with canning is like your scientific experiment, right? You have like your hypothesis of what you want it to turn out to be, what you think is going to happen. You have like your methods, all of that type of stuff. And you have like your control, which is going to be like your tools, your equipment, your stuff like that like is controlling the temperature and the airflow and like the, destroying any type of potential for bacteria, stuff like that. So it is very scientific. Yeah, it is. That's for sure. Less time for gaming, summer school. Oh my gosh. Oh, life has been crazy. I've been preparing anyway. Preparing? What do you say? Yeah, I think preparing my house to sell and move to another state. So that has been crazy. And we missed a couple of weeks because I was sick, but we've been back. I've been mostly streaming on Fridays. And then obviously this week I'm doing Thursday and Friday. And anyone, if anytime you guys are wondering what the schedule is or like what is going on with stream or where we are, what's going on in life, you can join the Patreon for free, FREE, and you can see the schedule at any point there too as well and kind of see what's going on. Just for anybody else who might be wondering, like, yeah, I've been wondering what the heck is going on with this stream schedule. The next little while is going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be pretty crazy because I am selling my house and moving to another state and buying a new house. So, oh my God. Yeah, the Discord is getting a little facelift here soon, like everything else has been. That's like the last thing in line right now. But I'm still doing the announcements there, and the like streams will pop in on there as well to let you guys know when we go live and all that good stuff. So again, 2-piece system. You've got your flat lid and you've got your band. The band really is only for processing. Your flat lid is actually for sealing and like storing. You only want your band to be just fingertip tight, and your lids, your little metal lids, are usually going to be single use. Sometimes you can get a second use, but I highly just recommend single use and getting brand new ones, which are not expensive, and you can get a whole pack of them for very cheap. Make sure you do that. All right. Essential tools, guys. This is the big thing. This is all the stuff. So, tools reduce mistakes is really the most important takeaway from all of this. That's why it's on the screen. Really, you have your jar lifter, which if you can see, it's kind of behind this chat box, so you'll have to bear with me, but you can see my little mouse scroller here. So here is your lifter, your jar lifter. It's going to be your gripper essentially when you're pulling things out of your water bath or your pressure canner, all of that type of stuff, because that shit's going to be hot and you don't want to use your hands. Trust me. You also don't want to try to reach in there with like an oven mitt or something on. I mean, good luck to you and praise to you if you would like to, but you can easily burn your arms and things like that by doing it. I just highly steer you away from that. Highly recommend getting a simple jar lifter, very cheap, nothing expensive, nothing fancy. You can even find these things most of the times at thrift stores or like garage sales, things like that, but like they're really, really not expensive. I think you can get a whole kit, like all of the stuff that comes in this kit on Amazon for like 20-ish bucks, which I understand 20 bucks is still kind of expensive, but like for everything that you're getting and for how much you're going to preserve, it honestly is going to pay for itself within easily the first year of using it, if not like sooner. So you've got your jar lifter, very important. You don't want to get burned as you're doing things. You have your funnel, which is so that you don't get the outsides and like all over your jars super dirty. So you've got your funnels to also help with like broth pouring and things like that. Maybe you already have a funnel, so you don't need to worry about this type of stuff. This though is one of the main things. Just make sure you have a jar lifter, make sure you have some type of funnel system, and then you're gonna want a bubble remover. Now, here's the thing. I've heard some different theories of like people using butter knives as well to just kind of stick down the sides to make sure that bubbles are removed from things. I've heard of people using certain spatulas. If you have a spatula that's similar to this that you could already use, that's maybe just a little bit bigger, has like more of a big spatula handle, you could try that. But honestly, these bubble removers are kind of helpful if you can afford them. They're great. They're pretty cheap just on their own, like maybe a couple dollars. So look into that. If you have something that's similar, if you have like maybe a cake spatula, like a cake frosting spatula or something like that, something that's on the thinner side, because you want to kind of push it in on the sides of your jars, right? So that what's the right like verb? I can't think of the right word to actually say it. The comparison I'm thinking of is when you're like squishing bubbles out of like a window covering or something, you know what I'm saying? Or like a wrap covering or something like that. Like you've got to make sure to get those bubbles out of there. So putting this remover in and putting it in all areas of the jar is extremely important so that you don't leave little pockets that can create kind of traffic jams for the airflow, or that can create little pockets for mold spores to start kind of being welcomed in, all of that kind of stuff. So very important. And then it also helps with your headspace accuracy. So you definitely want to have that in there to make sure that like and you can also kind of tamp your things on the counter as well. But this is going to help, especially with those kind of ones that don't really budge much from the top, and you're going to want something similar to this. So when we experiment, we'll kind of do both, and we'll show like tamping as well as using the remover and stuff like that. But it will help you with your headspace accuracy, and you need to have that headspace, which we talked about in last stream. That's really important to make sure that things seal properly and they are kept properly and don't mold. You've also got your lid wand. Now this is like a magnetic lid wand basically that you put on your, I don't know, what do you call it? Like top of your, what do you call it? Lid? I can't think of the actual, it's a lid wand, but is it like I don't know, whatever, pressure canner lid, your bath canner lid, on the little like knob there to help you like guide it out. You can also, of course, just probably use, depending on what kind of knob it has, or if it's just a flat surface. I've seen flat surfaces, which is what I was trying to figure out how to call those. And then I've also seen ones with great little knobs. So if you have knobs, obviously it's a little bit easier, and you can try and just use like your cooking mitts. But I have seen a lot of people recommend having some type of like metallic lid wand. So that is an important thing. And then there is also the rack, which prevents thermal shock. And let me talk a little bit about, hang on. I need to find this in my notes really quick. Bear with me. Okay. So, is this the one that I was thinking of? Okay, so your canning rack, which I don't think they really show like an actual rack unless they're trying to say like this is the rack, which I don't think it is. But anyways, you're going to want some type of rack. Now, I'm going to show you here a couple different options for racks. And this is literally just so that it keeps the jars from directly touching the hot bottom of the pot. It allows for even water circulation. It protects the glass from sudden temperature changes. So you're literally with this rack, which I swear I had pictured here and I'm kind of frustrated. Anyways, but it's okay. Because I'll show you these other ones. So you're essentially creating a barrier, and this rack is preventing the base of the jar from overheating. Overheating, not to scare you, but just so you know, is a common cause of shattering. So having some sort of rack, which you do not need an expensive one, I can show you a couple different options here in a second. Having your rack literally just prevents thermal shock, right? It avoids direct heat. It allows for even heat distribution. It prevents excess heating, and it really just reduces physical shock. So let me show you the different options, because I saw this and I was like, this is probably one of the best ways to do this, especially if you're like working maybe more on a budget. Let me show you here. So you can literally make a rack yourself by maybe using some of these other bands that are maybe not as suitable for canning anymore, or maybe you just have an excess of them, whatever the situation is. So there's kind of like a cheap option for that, which is not bad. That's obviously a nice thing. There's other canning rack that look like these, and they have an option to pull it out, so you don't even need the this little gadget here to pull the lid off. My goodness, my brain is not working. You can tell I haven't had dinner yet. Yes, yeah. Pop that bubble. I'm so glad, by the way, Elijah, that you saw us live and you were like, yes, I'm gonna come hang. I've missed you. I hope work is going well for you and life is going well. Yeah. Popping the bubbles, evening and smoothing them out. Precisely. So yes, the racks are literally so you don't have to touch the bottom and get potential. Oh, that's actually a good point. Having the rack so you don't have to touch anything in the bottom, but then also like getting any potential bacteria in the water, I suppose. Well, I guess you wouldn't need that as much for the actual canning process because the cans would already be sealed and stuff, or the jars. But yeah, it is literally the most like basic way to look at it is just that it is like, why is my stuff like, you guys, I really think I have to do like a full reset on my computer, and I really don't want to. I've been saying that, and it's going to happen here soon. It's going to just take something bad to make it happen. But anyway, so these are more to help the flow and to ensure that you're not having direct contact with that heat on the bottom of your pot, because that shit be hot. So you can get something like this, which I've seen a lot of people use on the Tickety Talk and stuff like that. And that helps you not only lower all the cans in there at once, which is super helpful. You pack your cans on here just like it shows over here. It's kind of hard to see hidden behind the chat, but you can see it here is a bigger image of it. You can load them all in there, and then you literally just kind of lower this down, and then you can use this same device to pull it back up. or you can do them individually to check them, which is why you should have your tongs. Tongs are one of the best ideas. But anyways, there are so many different options for these little like canning racks that you can find on Amazon. You can find them at the thrift store. You would be so surprised. You can also make your own, like I was showing you. So don't let that be like a deterrent. Just remember that you don't want your cans ever sitting on the bottom of your like pot ever. That direct heat is what will cause like the shattering and some of that scary stuff that we do not want to have happen, right? Okay, so just remember your tools are just there to help you reduce mistakes. And then these other tools that we're going to talk about are a little bit more, I guess, optional, but just more to like reduce anxiety. So things that are optional but not required, right? Like this little setup that I kind of keep showing is pretty basic. It's doesn't have anything more than what you need. You've got your bubble wand, you've got your filter, you've got your little like heat tongs. This one has the lid opener thing, and then you've got these other tongs as well for whatever else you might need it for. But you've these are like your basic things. I think this little green thing might be a rack to set down in the bottom of it, so like nothing is hitting the bottom, but I can't quite tell. Anyways, you don't need anything major. Just focus on getting the simple things. Learn what you need first. Watch all the tutorials first. Watch my tutorials, of course, but then go watch others, and just don't overspend. Like, I think a lot of beginners kind of overspend on things, just out of like fear, but you don't need to. You do not need all the gadgets. You do not need all the things. Okay. Just understand what's optional. And this is the required stuff, right? These are the required things. And then you'll obviously want some type of like rack to keep the jars up off of it. So just focus on that. Things that are nice, but are not like required, or things like automatic timers, or, the most fancy rack for everything to be contained in and lowered down in. We don't need things like electric canners. We can easily use our stoves and maybe portable burners and things like that if we need to. We don't need deluxe kits and things that come with 1,000 freaking pieces. There's a reason that I didn't show any of the kits that have like 90 different utensils in them, because you really only need just like your core few things. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? That old saying, like, it's true. You can just start simply, which I think is the biggest help when it's comes to starting all of this stuff. So we are doing a little bit of a recap on jar cleaning. We already talked last stream in part 2 about sort of washing, like, conceptually. So we're just going to add a little bit more detail now. When we are washing jars, here are the important details. I need to just double check this other. Okay, good. This one's working too. Because my other one's like frozen on my other screen, it's making me worried that this isn't changing for you guys, but it is. Okay, so when we're washing jars, we need hot water and soap. That's the most important thing. And again, we need a clean area. Clean your freaking area. Clean your freaking sink. Clean off your counter space around it. Have a set out, established, cleaned off, clear of debris area where you can put your things before and after you wash them when they're drying. And then also have a whole area, of course, where you're going to do your canning, and then where things go after canning, right? That's part of having our workflow and like our workspace sort of envisioned. So hot water and soap, rinse them well, and inspect all of the rims. Make sure your rims do not have any chips or cracks or missing pieces. That will completely fuck up your process. Sterilization, is only required if you're processing for under 10 minutes. So now let me tell you, hey, get out of here. I think my doggy might need to go outside. We might take a quick little breaky here. Let's see. Let us see. Hey, sit down. Sit down. You're fine. I have another dog over here like, yeah, me too. I need to go too. Anyway, sterilization is only required if you are processing something for under 10 minutes. So that was something that we had talked about last time. We weren't quite sure if you have to clean and sterilize every time, if you have to, do the hot water and soap by hand, and then on top of it, put it in the dishwasher and sterilize it and sanitize it, blah, blah, blah. You only need to sterilize or basically double wash things if your processing time is less than 10 minutes, okay? Because the actual canning process itself is going to take care of a lot of that. So let's leave it there for just a quick minute. And I'm going to let these little puppers out because apparently one's yelling at me. They might just need water. So give me just a couple minutes to kind of check both little sections. Make sure that you take good care of yourselves in the meantime. Take a little break for yourselves. Just a quick little reset moment. And for anyone who's just coming in or who's maybe, quietly been hanging out, lurking, welcome again to O.N.U.H, to O.N.U.H. We're all about learning self-reliance, slowing life down a little bit, figuring out how to take better control of what we grow, what we make, what we consume, what we do and do not rely on, because we can have more control of our lives, right? But if you're new here, you picked a great day to join us. And if you have been lurking, maybe you've been around for a little bit and haven't quite committed to hanging out fully, totally valid. Lurking is a respected position in this community, so don't forget that. But yeah, let us know where you're watching from. Maybe you're catching this on the replay on YouTube. So let us know where you're watching from, or maybe what you've been working on today if you feel like sharing. And yeah, all that good stuff. Give us just a few minutes and I will be right back to continue. We're going to start talking about why some people add vinegar to canning water, which was a question that we had last stream. And I did a little bit of research on it for us. So give us just a few minutes here and we will be right back. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for waiting. Hopefully you took a quick break yourself, got some hydration or relief. I don't know, whatever you needed. Just took a little moment for yourself, stood up, stretch, something. I ended up having to let all the dogs out and get them new water and clean their bowl, so it took me a minute. But everyone's happy, and as you can hear, everyone is taking drinks at the water bowl, so it was a success. A big success. Anyways, if you guys are just joining in, or if you are rejoining us maybe, welcome back. Welcome in. We are part 3 of our Canning 101 series right now. We are getting comfortable with canning equipment today. So far, we have covered why equipment really actually does matter and why it exists, which is control, right? Control over temperature, airflow, bacteria, seal formation, all of the things. We are really just building a controlled environment, but we don't need all the gadgets. We only need specific gadgets. Remember that, okay? And an ad is coming on the Twitch. If you guys have Amazon Prime, you can sub for free with your Amazon Prime. Yes, indeed. You can attach it to this Twitch account and support your favorite streamer. There is a link in chat for that. You can do that as well. Just in case you didn't know, you have 1 free sub per month, and that allows you to get access to sub content, sub only emotes, and of course ad-free viewing, which is the best part. But anyways, we also covered the 2 only real methods of canning, which are what again? That's right, bath canning, water bath canning, maybe bath canning, no, water bath canning and pressure canning, only those. Everything else that people mention, pickling, jams, fermenting, those are just food styles. They're not equipment methods, okay? Water bath canning safely processes things like fruits and jams and jellies and tomatoes and pickles, because high acid prevents dangerous bacteria growth. Now, pressure canning is needed for things like vegetables and meats and soups and stocks and beans, because those ones have, and they also have to be at a higher temperature, right, in the pressure canner, because those are needed to essentially have steam trapped inside with pressure and that temperature increasing, all of which to make the seal and destroy any potential for bacteria. Then we learned a critical clarification, just so everyone is on the same dang page. Pressure canners are not pressure cookers. Do not forget, okay? Do not forget. I repeat, pressure cookers cook food. Pressure canners are for processing canning. That is it, period. We also talked a bit about other food preservation methods, which we will go more into probably either part 4 or part 5. But we talked a little bit about preservation types, how not everything in a jar is automatically canned. Pickling is acid added essentially, and it's water bath safe. Things like jams and jellies, you have sugar in them, and those preserve your acid. But things like fermentation, freezing, dehydrating are other great preservation types, but they are not canning, right? Fermentation is beneficial bacteria, essentially, is what you're breeding there. Freezing is obviously freezing, you're just pausing spoilage. And then dehydrating is just removing all of the moisture. Canning is only one preservation system, though. That's the reason that we have different equipment, and that's the reason that we call them different things, okay? We also talked about the sort of equipment ecosystem. We met some of the tools involved, the really important ones, which are the things like your jars, your lids and bands, your essential tools, which are like the jar lifters, your funnel, a bubble remover, some sort of like lid wand, and a rack in the bottom to prevent thermal shock. We want to make sure that we're being safe with all of the heat. We want to also make sure that we're not contaminating things like the rim, and we're also leaving accurate headspace, all of that good stuff. We have also talked about the optional tools, which are lovely, but you don't need them. Those are things like deluxe canning kits that you can find online, or that are like 10 to 15 plus pieces, or electric canners, or automatic timers, things like that. We don't really need that, especially as beginners. Maybe you're past that and you're like, I've done all this stuff for years and I love my electric one, and that's wonderful. Some of this information will be the same and some of it will vary if you're using more of an electric canner system. So just remember, beginners don't really need to overspend. When we do that, that's kind of usually coming from a place of fear, so we can just start simply. And then now we are talking about our jar prep and cleaning. When we're washing our jars, we are just cleaning them for the most part. We're not necessarily making sure they're sterile. And the difference there, the breakdown, is that sterilization is only required if we are processing for under 10 minutes. So for the most part, we're able to just use hot water and soap, rinse them well, and then inspect the rims and make sure they're good to go. But if we have something that's processing for less than 10 minutes, we're going to have to go through a more of a sterilization process. Now, this is what we were going to, and this is the big question from last stream. We were seeing on video and some stuff like that where people were adding vinegar to their canning water, and I was so unsure about it, and I was like, well, this is a preview into what we're talking about next stream, so I'll look into this anyway. And I did, and there's an important clarification. So thank you for seeing change. I really appreciate that. Don't worry, you haven't seen anything you haven't seen. This is brand new. I just changed it right now. So you guys are perfectly in tune with that. Thank you, Simon. So the important clarification is that it prevents mineral film and keeps your jars clear. I was thinking, and we were wondering in chat last stream, if that meant if you had to use vinegar, if that helped sterilize it, because in one of the videos that we were watching, the guy made it kind of seem like it's just part of the sterilization process and you have to. So it's actually not. And it's kind of more of an aesthetic thing, and also to prevent that film, because that film not only is just a film that's aesthetically unpleasing, but it also ultimately kind of leaks into your food over time, right? That stuff isn't just there for no reason. So last time we were seeing, the people using vinegar. So vinegar does not need it. That's what we found out. Ultimately. It basically just reduces these mineral deposits, this mineral film. It prevents that cloudiness, and it just keeps your jars looking cleaner. So you can see this guy, excuse me, in his blog had a thing where it was here's, the ones that I've experimented with without using vinegar in my water. And then here's the ones that I haven't. So it truly is just to make it, it's an aesthetic thing, but it's also kind of a maintenance practice. So beginners like me, probably a lot of us, often misunderstand this, which is why I was really confused about vinegar being used in water and even grouped into the sterilization process. So technically it's not necessary, but it's something I'll be doing to reduce mineral deposits for sure and keep my jars cleaner, since I'm planning to can a lot of food and often. I definitely want to keep things as clean as possible and also looking as good as possible, because it's going to be my main bread and butter, my pantry. So, another thing that I was kind of in passing curious about, so I just looked it up a little bit. Lid preparation is a little bit different from your jar preparation. Of course, you need to wash your lids and all of that, but you don't have to use a warm lid. And let me just explain that a little bit. When you are canning, you want to keep your jars warm from the point of washing them all the way, all the way through to putting the food in, to actually getting them in their respective, whether, canning machine, is that the right way to say it? Equipment, I guess, whether you're putting it into your water bath or your pressure canner. So the reason that you do that is so that nothing shatters. If things get even closer to more room temperature cold, then you have that You basically leave room to play with for things to like shatter and not be good when you're adding hot liquids to them, or hot foods, or you're adding all of even not hot things to hot water, or it's going to eventually be hot. So the best way to do it is to either keep your jars in your clean warm water after you've like cleaned them off and you've rinsed them. You just kind of leave them there in the sink with some warm water, or you can put them in the stove with like the stove on the very lowest setting. But warm lids are optional. The lids don't have to necessarily be included in that. They are not required to be like boiled or anything like that. Ball has its own recommendations, and the manufacturer of whatever jar or like lid type you're using will have its own kind of guidelines on that. But warm lids are optional. That's not a thing. Like, it's not like if you have a cold lid and a warm a warm jar rather, that anything would happen that way. It's more or less like the jar itself is what needs to be kept pretty warm in between. So just FYI, in case you wondered, like me, I was very curious about it. So this is something that I saw that was kind of cool. So it's kind of like, let's look at this first and we'll chat about it. But this is basically like a workflow of how like equipment supports everything, like how your equipment really supports your workflow. So canning process, right? We start here. We do our preparation. We select and prepare the food. We wash, we pill, we cut. Even before that, honestly, I would add, this is just the best one that I could find, but if this was mine, I would add a step of saying like, we would clear out our whole workstation, wipe off and clean all surfaces, prepare your sink, all of that stuff. And then we go into the washing and pilling, cutting of your food. And then you're going to blanch for some foods to preserve color and texture. It's going to depend on your recipe. Again, we use recipes for everything that we do, right? And then you're going to fill your jar after you've blanched or whatever you might need to do here. There's oftentimes you're just going to go straight from washing, pilling, cutting to filling your jars. So then you pack your food into sterilized jars and you leave your headspace. You know that you have to add or use rather your little bubble wand to get any of the bubbles out of there, and really pack the jars as much as you can, kind of tamp them down on the counter, all of that. And then you're going to add any sort of liquid that's needed. So like boiling liquid, waters, syrups, brines, whatever it's going to be. You're going to add that over the food, keeping your headspace in mind. And then you're going to seal your jars. You're going to place your lids after, and there's one thing that needs to be here as well. Good thing we're going over these. You need to wipe your rim, and then you need to place your lids on your jars and secure them. And then you're going to heat your jars in water, bath, or pressure canner to kill those microorganisms, right? And really seal things. And then you're going to cool them. You're going to cool, depending on your recipe, 12 to 24 hours. Workflow is so important, Simon. I'm going to make one of my own, actually. I'm going to write this down. Hang on. I'm going to make my own. Canning process work sheet. Okay, I'm gonna do that so then it's a little bit like more of what we've learned. It's great, but it's just missing a few of the details, and this was the most complete like one I could find, you guys. So anyways, after you're cooling for whatever amount of time you're supposed to, then you are storing them in your cool, dark place. So tools to support the process. Bottom line, you're setting up and washing, you're prepping and packing everything, you are wiping your rim, and you're putting your lid on, you're sealing it, you're canning, you're doing whatever process you're doing, and then you're labeling. That's kind of the breakdown. Your tools are basically just there to reduce your friction, right? They're there to help the flow of things. They're there to help reduce errors is the best way to say it, I would think. But your equipment just exists to support your basic process of washing, packing, lidding, sealing, labeling. That's it. That's the basics. Experienced canners. One thing that I've noticed when I watch other YouTubers and things like that is they don't tend to rush. Like, I'm never watching somebody excuse me, who's like flying through the process of canning, because their setup really supports the process that they're doing. They are learning this. They've learned the systems, they've implemented the systems, and now they're just able to repeat them. It's like a memory thing. And that's where we need to get to. So right now we're learning those systems. We're thinking about the systems, right? We're learning them. So, that's what really, really helps us, though, is just making sure we're following process, which I got inspired to make my own little chart for. So we'll make our own little flow chart and put that on Patreon as well. So now that you really understand like why each piece exists, and we're learning more about what things are actually called and what things are necessary and unnecessary, let's watch an example of a real canning setup, so you can like visually connect everything that we discussed. So when you're watching, make sure that you're looking at like tool usage, movement of the person. Notice how things aren't like chaotic and out of order. Like they have a system and a flow to what they're doing. They have steps and a process. Notice that there's an order, and notice the pace. Notice that nothing is like rushed around and chaotic. It's very much like, okay, now I go to this part. I have part 1, I have part 2, I have part 3, 4, 5, 6. Like it's very much regimented. So just kind of keep an eye on that as we're watching this. And let me pull this up for us. So this is a video from the Ball Canning website. It's common canning tools and supplies needed for home canning and how to use them. We're going to want to also look at things like jar handling, and like the way that they're going through their workflow. Like just keep an eye on stuff like that. Notice if they're kind of all over the place, or whether they have like one thing set here in a specific area and one here, and they know exactly where to go the whole time, because this is a good visual representation, I think, of what we should be kind of striving for. So give me just a second to pull this up here for us. Okay. And, ooh, don't start talking, lady. Let's see. Now, my YouTube lovelies, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but you will not be able to hear this video. So I'm throwing the link in chat right now, YouTube, and I'm pinning it, and then it will, I think it's in the YouTube description. It should be, but if not, it is from the Ball Canning website, and it is their common canning tools and supplies needed for home canning and how to use them video, if you want to like watch it with actual sound, because you guys don't get sound on the replays for videos like these. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is set up right now. It's just how it is. I be on that workflow, right? You need it. Workflow is the best. Hi, Adrian. How the heck are you doing? It's so good to see you. Respectfully. How have you been? How's life? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. All right, let me make sure everything's all set up here for us. I'm gonna get this volume situated. You guys will have to let me know here in live chat if you can hear this well. It's not in description. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to change that really quick while I'm right here. No, lady, don't start doing that yet. Bear with me for a second while I add this to our YouTube video description. I need to start remembering to do that. I'm so like, it's only our second or third YouTube stream. I've forgotten. I have forgotten. Okay, we need to, it's only our second, not do that. I don't want to hear myself twice. No, thank you. Okay, let's add this in here. Okay. So today, here's the vidya. Oops. Here's the Okay, that is now officially linked in there. Make sure that's saved. So you guys have that link as well. And you guys could watch that aloud with us, along with us, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Oh my Lord. All the hugs and loves and tickles and oh my God. Thank you. I know I have this like long running note right now and I went to go write one more thing on it and the whole thing's filled. I was like, I'm just doing it now because I'm not, I want to add one more thing to this shit right now. I'm so behind on everything in life. Everything, but it's okay. Life is good. Life is real good. Okay?
Simon_mindset gifted for 20 Adrian _ subscription.
You are
Simon
wild and
_mindset gifted a
unhinged.
tier 1 sub to 420
What
Adrian
in the
_
world
They have given
is
47
going
gift
on?
subs in the channel.
Thank you for another gift, subby. That's seriously so kind of you. Thank you so much for taking care of our community and just being your best, most wonderful self per freaking usual. Adrian licked you. That's how much she's happy about it. Enjoy those ad-free views and wonderful emotes, my baby. Thank you. You're only just noticing the wild and I mean you're always wild and unhinged, but like even more so. What the hell? What the hell? Who in the hell put the muffins in the fridge? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll never do that again. I don't know where that just came from. I genuinely don't. I'm trying to move my overlay right quick and it is just not wanting to cooperate with me, chat. Does it look okay for you guys? Because for me it looks fucked up. Okay. Does it look weird for you guys? Like off the thing? I've missed you. I hope you're doing well. It's so stinking good to see you. Okay, yeah, that's not like this thing won't cooperate. Put them on a plate and let me eat them. I did. What you gonna do about it? Okay, let's put this guy up here and carry on. I feel like my screen's off. You guys will have to tell me if it looks freaking weird to you. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Okay, well that's not working. Don't do that. Okay. I'll have to look and see if it's messed up. I think it's okay. It's weird. My screen preview, guys, is all weird. Like I told you, stuff is freezing. I really think I'm going to have to do my whole thing. I'm really going to have to reboot this whole damn system. Not my gumdrop buttons. Not the gumdrop buttons. Oh no. It's so good to see you. I'm glad you popped in. I've missed you, you sweet angel. All right, let's check this out. Again, we are watching jar handling, tool usage, and workflow. Watch how she has things set up or not set up maybe. Let's check it out. My dogs were very excited.
Let's review some of the items that we need to be able to can at home. I've got a whole nice selection here, so I will just kind of go through them and talk about them. So obviously we need your water bath canner or just a regular pot, as long as you have something that's deep enough so that your jars are covered with water by a couple inches. So you're gonna need a canning rack, and I've got a few things to show you. You can use a traditional one like this that you put into your canner and it'll help you get the jars in and out. But the main thing you want is not let the bottom of the jar touch the bottom of the canning pot because of the heat. So you want something in between. You can get something like this, which is a trivet. That will help ensure the jar isn't touching the bottom. Or you can use your bands like this. This is like a really inexpensive way to do it. You just tie them like this and you can put them on the bottom like that, and then your jars can sit on that. So those are 3 of the ways that you can have a canning rack or something that just helps your jars safely can. There's like three main tools that you have to have if you're going to can. And we talked about them a little before, but I'll go more into detail. So it's our headspace tool and also a bubble remover. And then you have your funnel. So essentially these things plus your jar lifter are something you must have because, all right, when you are doing your jars, you got your jar here. This really helps to fill your food in here so it's not spilling out. It's just so much cleaner. It can get a little messy sometimes, so you want it to be as clean as possible. You don't want to waste food, so you need to have this tool. You want to have this tool to lift your jars because you are going in and out of the canner, right? And it's hot. You don't want to touch it with your hands. So there's different steps in the process, but in a few of them, you're going to be putting jars into the water and then taking them out. This works really well. Do not use it with this side. I've seen people try to do that, and to be honest, I was a little confused at first on how to use this thing, but you don't do this. You want to use the nice side that has like that circular shape. So you can actually grab onto your jar. Like you can hold it really tight and it feels really safe. Even when you have it full and it's heavy, it feels like you really have a good grip on it with this. So you need that. And then this headspace tool. So we talked about having that space at the top of the jar when you're following your recipe. Each approved recipe will tell you what kind of headspace you need. So if you look at this little thing, it says 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. So each little stair step is one of those. And it helps you just be able, according to the recipe, to determine at what level your food should stop. And then you put your lid and band. So that is a nifty little tool. You really need this because it's very specific. There's a science to canning, and you really need to follow whatever the specific headspace the recipe says. And if you don't have this, you're not gonna really know. So keep that in mind. Bubble remover. So you want to make sure you use a tool that is not metal. You don't ever really want to put metal in your jars. You don't want to scratch them. You don't want to do anything that's going to damage your jar. So you want something that's plastic. And what that allows is that if there's any air, when you have filled the content into the jar, you want to just stir it around and make sure that you've removed any bubbles that might be in there. So if you, let's say, don't have something to do that with, you could use a wooden spoon or tool. But again, if you need this little headspace, it kind of is a 2-in-1 type thing. So that helps you as well. You can buy like kits like this that have all those in them already, which would just make it easier. They're not expensive, and it's just a nice way to know, like, hey, I've got all the tools I need for canning right in one spot. So this is specifically called a utensil like set.
A good point. Unsterilized metals can contaminate. I have genuinely seen, like I was saying earlier, like on some social medias, I've seen people use like metal butter knives to clear out bubbles and stuff, which is kind of wild. That was, not something I would do. I mean, I guess you can because I've seen people do it, but yeah, like you're really risking a lot of contamination. You're risking potentially like cracking or breaking your glasses. Like it's just, I don't know if it's that worth it, honestly. I feel like getting this little part would probably be a better idea, and it's so like affordable that it feels like it's kind of, and like she said, it has the headspace thing on it, which is super helpful. So yeah, I think it's kind of nice. It's interesting too because notice how she explains it as like sort of a stirring thing instead of just like pushing down on the sides to make sure it's all set in there. So I wonder if she'll go more into that, or if it's always just kind of a stirring thing, or if it depends on what you're putting in there. Maybe if you're packing things tighter, that's when you'll like run it around the outside as well. Maybe I'm sure we'll kind of see more about that. But so far I like that she has kind of tied in everything that we've talked about as far as water bath canning anyways, and a lot of the tools that we've already like discussed and things like that. So this is like a good little recap for us.
So this gives you all the utensils. A few other items that you don't like absolutely need, but will make canning much easier for you and to have on hand are things like an oven mitt. When you are going to remove the lid from your canner, there's steam, it could be warm. You might want to have something to protect your hand. Kitchen towels, that's a big deal. I actually will have some of those small white square towels because you're gonna be cleaning and you're gonna be doing all these steps. Towels are very necessary. You wanna have a nice ladle that you can actually scoop your food content nicely into, and then when you're kind of putting it into your jar, it's gonna help it not spill everywhere. So you want one of those. A cutting board is really nice. One of the most important things is to not place a hot jar directly onto a cold surface. So having a cutting board and a kitchen towel nearby that you can place your jars on is really important. That's mostly all the things. A scale. Sometimes the recipe will call for a certain amount of pounds of tomatoes, like 20 pounds of tomatoes, and it's really hard to guesstimate that. So if you have a kitchen scale, it'll help you. It's not absolutely needed, but that's just some of the things I use and have on hand. One thing I like to do, that's just a little tip that I do, is I keep everything inside my canner. So, meaning when it's stored. So I'll keep a ladle and towels and an oven mitt and all my tools in here because it's a pretty big pot. So when you go to can, you have it all in one place and you're not having to search your whole house for all these different things. You have it all there ready to go, and it makes it much easier. So that is something you can do as well.
All right. That was a wonderful way to sort of recap everything that we talked about and start to really understand and visualize better, I think, more of exactly what we're talking about. And soon we'll be doing actual experimental streams, which are exciting. My raw hand. Yeah, no, right? Sticking your hand in some freaking 250 degree Fahrenheit weather. Yeah, that too. Water. God, you can tell I haven't eaten yet today. My brain, like, I have the sentence in my head and then I miss like little parts of it because it's just like not fully there. Not fully there. Anyways, what questions do you guys still have? You guys have been asking really good questions already. You can always let me know in the chat during stream or like in the comments later on the video if you're watching as a replay and you're like, wait, this didn't make sense to me, or I want to learn more about this, or you can also chime in on the Patreon and comment on posts or in the group chat or in the Discord as well, and just kind of let us know if you have more questions. The community can answer, or I can answer, or we can all try to answer together or figure it out together, that type of stuff. But anyways, we're really just, before we process any real food, we are just practicing. We're gaining that confidence, and we're just practicing as much as we can and learning before we're doing any type of like real experimentation. And I think that's the best way to do it. So as we've already been doing, we've done workflow planning rather. I've been preparing guides and resources on Patreon especially, and we've had our guides here for streams and things like that you can always return to. And we will begin doing dry runs and then ultimately real experiments here in the next few streams. So look forward to all of that good stuff. But next stream, we will continue more about, like, learning more, I should say, about building your canning stations. We'll learn even more about different heat sources. We'll learn more about tool organization and more about being ready for our first batch and our first experiment, things like that. I said this would either be like somewhere between a 4, 5, 6 part process, or series rather. And we're obviously nearing part 4, which will be tomorrow's stream or the next stream in this series if you're watching on a replay. So, just kind of be be prepared for all that good stuff. But yeah, if you are so inclined, or if you're more curious, if you want a little bit more information, if you are craving to dig even deeper into things, before we ever process real food, Patreon members get a little bit more resources than I can provide here just on stream. And Patreon members will receive things like DIY practice exercises, workflow drills, printable guides, little cheat sheets, deeper resource libraries, and then anyone on Patreon, and that's any tier, whether you're free or paid, whatever the situation is, also receives collaborative learning discussions. You can take part in talking through all of these things with us and figuring out what's important and what we need to focus on or not focus on, and just take part in shaping the community. So the Patreon is a fantastic resource no matter what situation you're in and what level of commitment you want to be in this community. It really is just a great collaborative discussion place. So our confidence really just comes from, practice, as we've learned, not from rushing. And we're not even in that little quick video that we just watched. Notice how there was no like her being like, and then this, and then this, and maybe this, and this. And it was very much like, okay, here's your options, and here's these options. You keep it very basic because it needs to be simple. So next time we will build an actual canning station. We'll kind of see what that looks like. We'll cover more about tool organization systems, stove and heat source considerations. Yep, that too. Maybe even considerations. I'm not sure. Safe movement zones, things that are good areas to be moving through, and things that we need to kind of delegate in our kitchen or our space as like, don't touch anything over here because we could either hurt ourselves or contaminate or whatever. And then just creating really a nice repeatable setup and preparing for our real first batches. So at this point, after, part 1 through 3, we now understand the science behind canning. We are learning more about the workflow, and we are learning a lot more about the equipment. We understand what's needed and what's not needed. So next is really just connecting it all together. So yeah, just remember, you're not late, you're not behind, you are here with like-minded folks. We're all learning here together. We're all just guiding each other, and you're learning correctly. Like, nothing is too late or unlearnable or, too complicated, or whatever the situation is, too expensive. Like, I promise you, no matter what situation you are at in life, you can easily feed yourself in a healthy way and preserve that healthy food in a way that makes sense for you. So we will see you in part 4, which again, we'll go over these main basic things. We'll definitely in part 5 get much more deep dive. We'll do a little bit of an overhead recap, but then we're just going to pretty much get into the thick of things and make sure that we really understand all of the details of it. So come hang out. We'd love to see you guys. We will be back here same time, same places tomorrow. And again, you can always find our scheduling and things like that on the Patreon. That's the best place. And then also the Discord announcements section will always have the scheduling and everything that's kind of just a little general overview for what we're going through for the week. And that also includes changes which happen, and the Patreon doesn't catch those changes. So just an FYI, you may want to be in both places just so you understand what's happening. But one or the other is always good. My puppers say hello and goodbye and all the good things. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you for being here. Thank you, and shout out to Simon. Thank you so much for your love and support and your help. I appreciate you so much, Simon. So much. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks, John. Thanks, Elijah. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, lurkers. Thank you, anybody watching this on the replay. So happy that you are here with us. And just remember, we are taking small steps. We're building real skills, and we are just figuring all of it out together. Okay. We're learning, we're practicing, and then eventually we're just going to live it. So, yeah, I just want to say again, whether you chatted or lurked or maybe worked alongside us, whatever your situation is, or you just needed kind of a calm place to exist for a while, I am super glad that you spent part of your day here with us, whether that was live or on the replay. That's what this community is about, just building skills, building resilience, and building, community together one step at a time. So if today felt good to you, the easiest way to support the space is simply coming back next stream or the next one, whatever you can, or just watching a replay. Patreon and Discord, like I said, are there if you want more connection, and the Discord revamp is coming soon, so keep an eye out. Yes, indeed. And yeah, I hope that you had a wonderful day. I hope something good happened to you today, or you have something to look forward to this week, even if it's just something small, or maybe it's just the next stream and maybe you can come here and see these sweet little angels again. That always brings some smiles. Thank you guys for being here. Truly take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.